Welcome. Been anxiously anticipating Rep Weekend, and hope that you guys feel inspired and educated and equipped to go back to your churches and just let them know what you've seen, what you've experienced. To those joining us Facebook Live, welcome. And I hope that this time together will be a blessing. So a little bit about LARC, the Linking to Attain Responsibility Community Program at Gateway Woods. Started out with a vision of how do we continue to invest in kids that leave residential care at Gateway Woods or leave the foster care program, and it turned into how do we support any youth who has a lack of support, which is a fairly big number. What we realized is kids that leave and don't have that support, they can get jobs, they can get plugged in different places, but if they don't feel like they have a sense of community, if they don't feel like they belong anywhere, and they don't feel like they have a home, and nobody really cares, they just fall to the wayside, they slip through the cracks. So we were trying to figure out how do we create something where we can just organically make these connections. So that's what we started to do through LARC. We take kids who otherwise may not successfully be able to navigate on their own, and we connect them with independent living skills, neighborhoods, faith communities, mentors, employers, the housing that they need. Maybe it's a program, transitional program. There's countless different needs that these kids are in need of. So the life's blood of the program are mentors. Those are the ones that are really putting their arm around these kids and saying, look, we want to do life with you. We want to encourage you. We want to inspire you to be what God created you to be. And that's why Scott and Holly are joining us this morning. Along the way, pretty quickly we realized the need was bigger than one person could dare. So we knew that we'd have to start looking for a coordinator. I eased into a management position, and God put somebody on my heart. And we were meeting with our executive director. We started doing an interview process. And Heidi joined us 3 months ago. I'd love to take 4 months. Feels like a lifetime. I'd love to give her the opportunity just to share a little bit of her story with you and how she got here and how that relates to the kids that we're called to serve. So with that, take off.
So I've already done this twice, and I kind of feel like I'm repeating myself. I want to change it up a little bit. Looking back on my life, a lot of things make sense to me now. When I was growing up, I did not have a happy family. I grew up with a single mom. My parents were divorced. She worked a lot. She was at home. In her spare time, she was kind of doing whatever she wanted to do, which was not being a mother. I did not have a lot of morals, values, life skills, simple things that your parents teach you or that you're supposed to know. I did not have any confidence for that growing up, so that I pretty much became the statistic of generational cycle. I ended up being a single mom myself. I was divorced from a husband of 10 years who was extremely abusive, emotionally, physically, spiritually, even though we didn't have an idea of who God was or who Jesus was or what that realm was even about. It just damages who you are. The trauma of abuse. I was abused as a child and abused as an adult, and so that trauma just really changes the way you think and the way you perceive life and the way you perceive people, and a lot of context on just what are other people's motives in life. And I did not ever feel like I could be loved or cared about, or that anybody even wanted me to succeed in life, because that is what I've been told my whole life. And so I found myself as a single mom with 4 young kids. They were 3, 4, 5, and 6, 8, 7. They're really close together. And I was always a survivor, and I just had to overcome a lot of things. So I did not realize how far into a deep pit I had gotten in my own life. But God did. He knew exactly where I was, and He knew what I needed. And I couldn't even explain it if I had to. The process that a church family began to start mentoring me. I was homeless. They had a house for rent, and it just started with that. Over the course of 8 years, they taught me the independent living skills that I needed. They taught me parenting skills. They helped me to mend some of the brokenness that was inside of me. Ultimately, through that, I came to know Christ, which was a slow transition for me because all the men in my life had been either absent, my dad was never around, or abusive, or taking advantage of me, or whatever that case was. So I had a very skewed view of what men, fathers, looked like. So when you talk about a heavenly father, it's like, I'm good. I don't need anybody else in my life. So it was very hard. It took me probably 3 years, 4 years even into my Christianity to really understand that love and that amount of grace that God gives us every day. And my transition into Gateway, God waited pretty much until I almost had all teenagers to say, hey, come to Gateway and work. And so I kind of have a double-sided view of things. I know what it's like to be a troubled teen who had nobody, no support, and what that feels like and what that looks like. Moving forward into being 37 years old currently and still trying to navigate through certain stuff in life that I don't understand and I was never taught. And then seeing, the mentality and the logic of teenagers as a parent kind of, I feel like gives me a good grasp to be able to help these clients that we work with. It's really nice for them to be able to know that somebody understands them. But it's really fun for me to be able to say, I understand what you're going through, what you've been through, but on the other side of that, what does this look like? What does God's grace look like, and what does it look like in my life? And just to be able to share that has been really neat going forward. I'm excited about it.
Thanks, Heidi. Heidi brings a lot to the table as well in areas that we maybe didn't think about before, like our Teen Moms program and our adoption program. She's had the opportunity to build some relationships with some young ladies who've been through tremendous amounts of trauma, domestic violence. Heidi has an amount of background that she shares in that, and they can be encouraged and inspired, and that relationship facilitates some of that. So it's been fantastic to watch what God is doing through her and with the people who are called this through. So again, mentors are the lifeblood of this program. Our churches and Christian mentors, they are the ones really getting in the trenches, really getting dirty, really saying, hey, look, we're going to, we do this thing sometimes where we put one arm around the kid and use the other to kind of keep them at arm's length. Because your stuff looks messy, and my stuff is kind of neat and put together, so I don't really want your stuff touching my stuff. Well, our mentors and our church families, they're starting to cease doing that. They're saying, look, we're going to go all in. We're going to allow the depths of your pain, your human experience to touch our lives in a way where we feel it in our relationship. And that's what I've experienced with watching Scott and Holly mentor Jenny. It's been fantastic. I'd love to give them the opportunity to share some of that experience with you guys today. We'll just kind of start with, how did you get here? How did you get the heart for mentoring?
We moved here a couple of years ago from Akron area, and before we moved, my daughter had a student teacher that volunteered here during the summer, and kind of brought up and said, hey, if you get a chance, check it out. It's a pretty great place. And we're like, oh, okay, whatever. I've never heard of this place. And then we moved here, and our neighbors had been house parents here, and the word came up again. I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing. And I went and got a haircut, and the stylist, her dad works here, and family is involved. Well, I think really God is really trying to just, drop this in our laps. And we found a church down the road from here, and a couple got up and said, hey, we're looking for people to start a Bible study, and we want to be able to maybe get involved at Gateway and connect with them and see if there's anything that our church can do to help or volunteer with. And wow, I think, okay, now I get the message, God, we are supposed to be here at Gateway. And so we signed up, and we're volunteering here once a month, coming in just, Scott would come play basketball with the boys, and we would just maybe cook with the girls or play games or whatever was needed, whatever we could do. And I really wanted to connect more on a one-on-one level. So we were introduced to Rob in the mentoring program, and I kind of volunteered Scott and myself and said, hey, we're going to do this, and you're going to be involved too. So that's how we really felt God was just leading us here, whether it be just volunteering or mentoring, I didn't know.
So thus far, how has your experience with mentoring Jenny shaped or changed your view on kids with trauma and the needs that they have?
It's an eye-opening experience. So Holly and I both are blessed to come from good families that in a rural area that were very heavily involved in our church, Christian churches, and so we were very blessed, and we haven't been exposed to much. So through this process, we've come to understand through the training that LARC provided, come to understand a little bit more about opening up our eyes and getting outside of our bubble, and things that other young people experience very traumatic things that we never experienced, and how to deal with those addicts. I don't know how to give anything else to add.
Yeah, we kind of came from the opposite of had almost too much support. Our family was always there. My grandparents, aunts, uncles all lived within the same, block of us growing up, and so we never had any idea. So it's nice to be able to introduce our kids to it too, and open up their eyes to the needs of other kids around them and in the schools. And when a kid may be acting up in class and causing you trouble, maybe there's something behind all that.
So through this experience, what has been the value of LARC in supporting you in encouraging the relationship you share with Jen?
Definitely being able to connect with Rob definitely helps when we have problems coming up, or I don't know how to handle certain situations. And connect with Rob to just kind of walk through things and on where what will happen next once our mentee leaves Gateway and stuff. To be able to come back to here and say, okay, our mentee needs help with the job or something. Where do we go? What do we do? Having those connections really is important.
I would say too, just the overwhelming encouragement we get from Rob and from Heidi. Just, when we're, my wife, she spends more one-on-one time with the mentee, obviously because of the two ladies, but so I know Holly will reach out and ask, so what do we do in this situation? So that's when we run up against something that we're not sure how to handle or what to do or how to react. So and through the training as well that we receive. So that's really how LARC's helped us as mentors.
So from your experience so far, what encouragement can you give, whether it's from our rep group or those listening, watching on Facebook Live, what encouragement can you give regarding mentoring? It's messy, hard work sometimes. Is it worth it?
Yes, it is definitely worth it. The mentee we have has no family support at all once she leaves here, and has not had any really up till now. And it does get very messy. It does, she puts up walls, or it's really hard to get through some days, and we don't know, okay, are we really making a difference? Is it worth it? But then we'll hear from Rob or from our house parents or somebody else that, she just really loved connecting with you the other day, or you really got through her. We sat down the other day and had a big talk about school, and she was having trouble with that, and it really made a difference. The school emailed the house parents and said, okay, what did you do differently? Because it's like a different kid today, and it's hard, but it's definitely worth it. I was concerned about some things that were coming up, and I talked to her about it, and she was just so puzzled. She was like, are you worried about me? And I said, yes, I'm worried. I care about, what's going to happen next and stuff. And she's like, wow, I've never had anybody worry about me before. I don't know what this is like. I don't know how to handle this situation. And I was a little uncomfortable by it. And so I think that just these kids really need people in their corner, and once they leave here especially, just on where to go next or what to do.
I mean, the other thing too is just so the things that our mentor gets, but we get blessings back. I mean, it's just growing us as couples just to be able to rely, to pray more for issues that come up, and grow in our spiritual faith more, reaching out to God for challenges.
So when we leave here sometime today or over the weekend, our reps are going to travel back to their respective churches. Our, those that are watching on Facebook Live are going to maybe talk to their friends. What message would you want them to bring back to their churches, to their friends, to other people about LARC, about mentoring, about what's happening here? What would you want that message to be?
I guess that it's definitely making an impact. I think it needs to continue to grow. I say that from our limited experience. We're hopefully changing one life, but that's one life at a time. I think is the way we're supposed to do it. I think that the biggest thing that I mean, as far as being introduced to LARC, is I don't know if there's any other programs out there like this. I mean, I can't imagine not being able, as a teenager, once you're done with the system, to all of a sudden not have a family and imagine where to go and not have a place to go for Thanksgiving or Christmas. I mean, that was one of the first times where our mentee came over was our house for Christmas, and I just couldn't imagine that not having anywhere to go or call my dad and when I have car troubles or what to do or buying my first car and getting advice. So for me and Ali both, that puzzles us and perplexes us, and we want to make sure that don't understand why people should have that same opportunity and the mentorship program that. But I do want to say that LARC is the only program I know of that is really truly Christ-centered. That's is centered around faith and spreading. The mission is really to help spread that faith and spread the word of God. So that's what it's based on, and that to me is very unique, and that's why it's exciting for me to be involved in this.
We may not see the impact immediately. I mean, we may feel like we're not really making a difference, but we hope, like, maybe down the road, it at least plants a seed, or will impact them in one way or another down the road, or maybe stop the cycle of abuse and trauma and maybe make a difference.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate all you guys are doing. Look forward to continuing to work together, serve together. So advocating on behalf of these kids, on these youth, and providing resources is only a part of it. For us, I mean, Heidi and I both come from similar backgrounds. And that's great, but I think there's this lie that our enemy likes to tell us that if we can't relate, then we can't help. And what we found is the people that have been the biggest investment, the biggest encouragement to us, will have very little context of understanding where we came from. So you don't necessarily have to have came from where somebody comes from to help. We have all had an experience. All of us that claim the name of Christ have had an experience with the Holy Spirit. The living Spirit of God dwells in our body. I think that equips us to do this work alone, apart from anything else. We don't want to idolize our stories. Part of what we do is just encouraging, inspiring, and equipping the church to come alongside and invest in the lives of these kids. It's been fantastic to watch the church and people come alongside and say, look, we get involved. We haven't always done it well. When you're talking about reaching out to people we don't have contact for, but we want to. And all of us, I don't care where you're from or where you're going back to, those watching Facebook Live, no matter where you're at right now, there's hurting people in your community, and you can make a difference. It's not, here I am, Lord, send him. It's send me. I think we have the opportunity to do that, and this is a fantastic way. We have a vision that we don't know what's going to happen with LARC through Gateway. We believe there's an opportunity for this model and this, what God has blessed us with here to have an impact wherever we have a church, wherever we have willing hearts and servant leadership. With that, does anybody have any questions?
What if you have a kid who's just a rebellious kid, who's come from a good home, got both parents there who are more than willing to support him, but he just is making bad decisions?
Sure. I feel like those are harder. So when you have kids that maybe don't necessarily have the trauma, it's just rebellion. Relationships speak to that too. I mean, just continuing to show up. I look back and there were times that, forget my trauma, there was times that I was just a terrible person. And I had a set of great aunts. One of them went home to be with Jesus, the other one's 94 years old, that just kept showing up to the point that they were driving 2.5 hours to visit me in prison. I mean, it was, the way I treated them was awful, but I look back on it now and they were the best example I've ever had for unconditional love and support and encouragement. And that is a big part of what I'm able to do now because of what they showed me. So sometimes we're looking for that immediate result, and God's got the long-term vision. God's got a long game. He's thinking, look, we plant and we water and we trust him to bring the increase. And I think with rebellious kids, sometimes that's just what you got to do. You have to keep saying, look, no matter how terrible you act, I'm going to love you. I'm going to pray for you. And when they're ready to make a change, they're going to go right back to those people that have always kept showing up. They've always been there. I'm going to go back to them. Anybody else have any questions? So we have no idea what the future holds for LARC moving forward, but we are excited to see how we can continue to serve a population of kids that don't have a lot of support. We appreciate those that are advocating for the mission here at Gateway Woods, for those that tuned in on Facebook today. We just appreciate you so much. So I hope you're blessed by the day and encouraged.
We have a Facebook question. Do you have time for it?
Awesome. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. For a mentor family, how often do you meet with a child, your clients?
So our minimum, like what we call a minimum, is one face-to-face a week and one phone call. What I love is the ones that come along alongside and say, how many times can, which was the case with Scott and Holly. Holly said, how much can I actually? So what do you guys do, Holly?
I asked
Scott?
if there was a limit. I'm like, am I only allowed one, or can I do 30? Or I think it definitely depends on the kid and what the child, what their need is, because there is no family background that's also supporting them. I felt that we needed to maybe check in, make more phone calls during the week. We pick her up on Fridays after school, and we make dinner together. Our 3 kids are all involved with her in the evenings too. We play games or watch a movie when she comes back. And then on Sunday, we also take her to church with us, and she wanted to be part of the youth group that the high school junior high meets in the evenings. Scott teaches there, so she goes with him and spends the evening there. We weren't sure how that was going to go, if she'd be able to, adjust to being around a bunch of strange other teenagers, but she jumped right in. She loved it, so to the point where if we're unavailable to take her there, we've set up other people to be able to bring her to the youth group so she can still be part of that. So, and it changes each week on what our schedule is, but most of the time it's twice a week and then phone calls.
And also too, depending on what it really comes down to, it's a relationship. So if the mentee needs more time, if something's going on in their life, I know Holly spends more time with her on the phone, checking in with her, and also talking to the house parents. So it's not for us. It's not about rigid schedule as much as it is. It's just about her relationship. Is really what it's about.
Just like our own kids, if they have a problem they're working through and need, I've had a phone call during the week where she wanted to talk to me right away, so we, picked her up and spoke with her for a while and brought her back. So it's kind of like whatever they need, basically.
Any other questions? All right. Again, thanks for being here. Thanks for your support, your encouragement, your prayers. Love you guys, and safe travels back to wherever you're heading.